Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh Balter, owner and founder of the BioDude. Today I have a fun video that I've been looking forward to making for a long time. I'm actually upgrading my Leopard Geckos vivarium and giving them a little bit more space. And a lot of people have been asking for another Leopard Gecko video, so here we go. This is a 24 by 18 by 18 Exo Terra. As you can see on top here, I have my 16-inch LED that has the red and blue diodes in it that is being held up by my BioDude LED props. And you can see here my plethora of things that I'm going to be using to construct the vivarium. For starters is my handcrafted BioACtive substrate, my Terra Sahara. This substrate is a one-of-a-kind. A lot of my clients have used it and I'm getting nothing but excellent feedback about it. What makes the Sahara so unique is that it's very dense in the fact that it retains all tunnels and burrows that your animal makes. But at the same time, it maintains necessary air pockets from the very top of the substrate to the very bottom, making sure air is going from point A to point B to prevent bad bacteria buildup, as well as other gases and things that can be harmful in a compact, humid, internal humid environment. The Sahara will always stay dry at the top, but maintain its moisture levels in the middle and bottom layers, which is great for your live desert plants such as cacti, succulents, aloes, things like that. So the first thing that we're going to do is open up the bag of Sahara. Just so you guys know, this bag right here is 41 pounds. It's heavy, but worth every penny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Sahara and I'm going to dump it into the terrarium, right like this. Without breaking my tank. Now as you can see, I'm using a lot of substrate. A lot of people ask me, why are you using so much substrate? The deeper your BioACtive substrate, the more effective it's going to be. And I will show you guys that in about a minute or two. But I'm going to get this evened out, or layered how I want it to be layered. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a watering can, like this right now. I'm going to water my tank initially. Now I'm doing this to hydrate the Sahara, essentially, and get the moisture levels in the middle to prevent your plants from going into shock so they acclimate a little bit better. You can see how it's puddling at the top here. That's exactly how it should work. You're going to take your hands and you're just going to mix it, right like this. You can also put it into the bag if you choose, but it really depends on what route you want to go. You don't need a lot of water because the Sahara is extremely good at staying dry on the top layers, but moist in the middle and bottom layers, and that's exactly what you want when you're dealing with a desert type of biome, because that's exactly what a desert biome is like. So I like the consistency here, how it's sticking. A good way to tell, you can kind of see the moisture coming down here at the front, and it'll start creating moisture pockets, and you can actually start seeing it at the bottom. And essentially, as the tank progresses, this is how it's going to be. The next thing that I'm going to do is add in my first biodegradable, which is my New Zealand sphagnum moss. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to add some water to it. The point is to get this moss wet but not dripping. Now, I get a lot of questions, why am I using this? Leopard geckos are famous for having issues in shedding because their toes. And what can happen is old shed can get stuck on there, cut off the blood flow, cause it to fall off. Same thing can happen to a lot of other lizards as well. So it's important to provide humidity pockets in the soil, not only for your leopard gecko's health, because as I've discussed in my other videos, humidity pockets and sauna pockets in your vivarium, in specific sides of your vivarium, they help with shedding, respiration, and hydration, which with reptiles are pretty much your three most important things. So I'm putting a layer up here like this. This isn't how I want it to be. I'm going to mix it. Now I get a lot of questions. Is this going to impact my leopard gecko? my answer to you is it will impact your leopard gecko if you do not take care of your leopard gecko. There have been many studies, published studies, which I really need to put on my website. Impaction in general with most lizards is caused because their immune system is suppressed. And if their immune system gets suppressed, things that they might ingest that they would be able to typically ingest, they're not able to because their bodies aren't functioning as well as they should. What causes a poor immune system from a captive bred animal and a captive environment? Poor husbandry. Which I will get into their husbandry requirements in a minute, but as long as you are keeping all of that steady, you shouldn't have any issues. The next thing I'm going to look at with how this is properly mixed is what side do I want to have his humid den be? And what side is the hot spot going to be? The hot spot is going to be right here for my little one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put a little bit of moss back here in the corner. Right like that. And I'm going to mix this a little bit, right like that. But concentrate it. The bugs are going to love it, I promise. Next step is adding in our essential microfauna. I hate saying the backbone to your bioactive ecosystem because there's a lot of other drivers that are just as important as they are. But your cleanup crew, which really help cleaning up the waste, as well as essentially going through the soil, creating necessary air pockets, which help with root development, plant growth, as well as making your soil consistently, essentially recycle itself so it's constantly staying full of nutrition. So the first thing I'm going to put in here are my isopods. So for the leopard gecko, I'm using a combination. I'm going with powder blue isopods, I'm going with giant orange isopods, and dwarf purple isopods. And I'm going to dump them in here. And you guys can actually see some crawling in there. Is the leopard gecko going to try and eat them? Maybe. They're really not that big, but these will populate in the vivarium and essentially maintain the tank for you. Are you still going to have to spot clean your leopard gecko's enclosure? Absolutely. You're going to have to do that for the first couple months, but after your bioactive tank continues to stabilize, you'll notice the fecal matter being broken down significantly quicker, leaving only urates, which still need spot clean. So what I'm going to do is then work on our humid hide, and I'm going to take a piece of cork tube like this, and then I'm going to get a piece of cork bark, and I'm going to go like this. Then, so I got two types of hides here. He can go under here, dig a tunnel, or he can go right into here and have that back end be covered up. So after the isopods are in there and getting the humid hide figured out, I'm then going to put in my springtails. In the springtails, I used the giant whites, so you can see they're really not that giant. They're very little. You can see there's one right there. They're crawling. Springtails breed a lot faster than isopods do, but they can never ever dry out completely. That's why it's imperative that you are making sure that your substrate is maintaining the proper humidity pockets, which I will show you guys how to do that at the end of this video. So after now that I can see, look at that, I usually put mealworms in here, and there's actually one that turned. They're actually going through and doing the job for me, so I'm actually just going to leave them in there. The next thing that I'm going to do is figure out where the other two hides are going to be. So I have a cool hide that's going to be the humid hide as well, and then I'm going to have another hide, such as the tubes, that can be like this, which is going to give my little one plenty of places to go, which is important. Options are very, very important when it comes to these guys, in my opinion. I like that. I can dig it. Next thing I'm going to do is input my BioShot. A lot of people ask me, Josh, what is this stuff? BioShot is really, it is a one of a kind for bioactive terrariums. This is not brewer's yeast in a container, like some people sell. What this is a 444 NPK, 100% organic balance of macronutrients into pebble form that work with archaea, and mycorrhizal fungi that help create the macronutrients, excuse me. The fungi and the bacteria create the macronutrients, which are more easily taken by your plants. Your plants grow stronger, happier, healthier, making your green thumb a little bit bigger. That's what the dude's about. And then all you do is just spread it right in here. Okay? Then, next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna start scaping. My favorite part. So I started carrying these water dishes. I really like them because they're really sturdy and they don't look fake. It just looks like a natural water thing. And you know, you guys know me. I'm down for that. And I always put the water dish here. I always put a small piece of cork in the water dish for crickets. So your crickets aren't drowning in your water dish, polluting it, if you feed crickets. You can also use these, are great for feeding dishes to feed your dubia and mealworms and things like that. You can feed your leopard gecko out of a feeding dish. I let mine hunt. I'm all about the natural instincts. I let them hunt and forage unless I'm giving them burrowing insects. In that case, I would put it in a dish similar to this. So I really like how this is looking. I really do. So the next thing is my favorite, ghost wood. Years I've been I tried to get this stuff, and I finally found it, and I'm so happy to offer sizes up to 32 inches long. Makes for really nice vivarium pieces. So I'm gonna do this, like that. I'm gonna put. I don't like that. You're gonna be better like this. Personally. There we go. You can dig that a lot better. Sorry about that scraping on the glass there. What do you think, Andy? Yeah, looks good. Looks good. Yeah? Okay. Plants. I got probably the best selection of desert plants for a terrarium. If you guys find a better source, let me know, because you know I'm down to carry the best. So, for larger plants here, these are my 8-inch pot aloes, one of the aloes. I love this one because how it grows and branches. So it's starting new baby pups here, which I can literally just pull off and plant anywhere and they grow. So I'm going to plant this one first. And these plants aren't grown with anything. They're just grown in really well-drained soil. If I could get it out of the container here without making a big mess. Now, whenever I ship plants, yeah, this is ridiculous. I try not to. So whenever I ship plants, I ship them bare root, as bare root as I can get them. And I've had pretty good success thus far. So, I'm going to take the plant here. I'm going to go in the very back, because that's where I'm putting this. And I'm going to put it right in the back. There you go. America. Okay. That. And then I'm going to put it around this, like that. So what's going to happen, this part right here is going to get nice and tall and take up this back corner. This spot's going to keep growing all over here, so I need something to fill in right back in that corner, and I got just the thing. Another one of these. So, oh, see, that wasn't as messy. Here we go. All right. I'm going to move this for 1 second. Look at that root base. This plant's a monster. And it's really nice when you put plants with extensive root bases in your vivarium, because it really helps. I mean, it really helps with retention of tunnels and burrows for your animals. once that, it'll be a lot better once that fills in. So I got a Cryptanthus Earth Star plant right here. These are great because you can mount them. You can put them in the soil, or as long as you wrap them in some moss, you can literally mount them. And that's what I'm gonna do. As far as maintenance on that goes, you need to make sure this moss doesn't dry out. It's really easy because as long as you're misting your leopard gecko every single day, which you should be doing, because they like to drink dew early in the mornings before they go back into their hole, and right before the, right as the sun's going down as well, but usually early in the mornings, because that's when, if there is any sort of moisture, that's when it's gonna be. I'm gonna put that right like that. Now this plant, this is a new one. Mexican basil. Smells real good. Great for herbivores and omnivores because if they eat it, it's just oregano. But it smells good. So any smells in your tank, this takes care of it all. I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna put this right here like this. Now, I know I'm gonna get the comment that this looks busy. I'm all about it. Nature is crowded. I like to give my animals a lot of places to climb, a lot of places to hide, and a lot of options. Thousand Mother plant, by far one of my favorites. You see in here in this pot, these are all babies that it creates. So here on these hinges, it just drops them into here and they root. So eventually these can just drop all over the place and spread. It's awesome. And they're super hardy, which is even better. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put this right like this, and I'm covering up the babies. And I'm doing that because they're gonna continue to grow anyway. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of moss right on top, just a little bit, just to help. I think that looks pretty nice. Next thing I'm gonna do is add the most important part, leaf litter. Leaf litter is a must in any natural terrarium. It is a must because not only do your springtails and isopods break it down in creating more soil and more nutrients for your plants, it also is extremely beneficial for hiding places for your leopard gecko. If it's a big enough leaf, they will actually go underneath and hide and dig burrows underneath the leaf litter. And I always like to use magnolia. You can use oak for the leopard geckos, it's no problem. But I like using magnolia for these guys just because the leaves are a little bigger. And it helps preventing them from eating the leaves when they catch their food, if you let them hunt naturally like I do. If they ingest some of the leaves, it's okay. It's plant matter. It's not gonna, cause issues as long as you're not using plant leaves that were collected from a bad area. And if you get them from the dude, they're collected out in the middle of Texas wilderness. That's why there's dirt and other sticks in the bags, because I don't get them from residential areas. So essentially what I'm doing here is just kind of spreading my biodegradables the best that I can to get this nice and evenly distributed to help distribute my microfauna. And I'm really going to concentrate it here on the humid end, because the humid end is where your microfauna is going to concentrate initially. And then after they get their populations established, that's when you're going to start noticing them spread. A tank of this size is going to take a couple months, and I'm still going to spot clean it. But even if you would lose any of the cleanup crew, as long as you have the BioShot, and as long as you have some semblance of springtails in there, the bioactivity aspect end of things really does take care of itself. I can pretty much say that. So let's see. I'm digging this. So I'm gonna do a light misting here. Now, this looks humid right now because I'm misting, but what I can tell you is that the humidity in this vivarium is never ever going to exceed 30 ambient. In here on the humid side, down and under here, it probably has a humidity, I will know, and between 50 and 75%, consistently ranging and changing. That's exactly what you want. This gives your animals options. Best way to check that is what I like to use are the vivarium electronics. hygrometers and thermometers. They're accurate to 0.01 of a degree. I really like them. I have a lot of different people ask me, how do I prevent getting hard water stains on the front of my glass? So tap water is a problem. It's all the heavy minerals and things like that in the water that leave the residual. You can use Reptisafe, which takes out your chloramines, your chlorides, your chloramines, and your ammonia, and turns it into essentially like a cleaner water. And it really does help if you're using a Mist King and regular misting if you don't have access to reverse osmosis or distilled water all the time. As far as lighting goes for my leopard gecko, there's a couple different things that I'm going to be doing here. And I'm actually going to play with it to see what's going to work out best for what my little one needs. So what a lot of clients of mine like to use is the Reptitherm under tank heater by Zoom Med. I really like these because they are reliable. Now, when you look at the back here, it tells you to put it at the bottom. But you see a picture of the table being hollow with the cord going underneath. If you put this underneath your tank and have the cord get pinched, which would happen in the Exoterra and the Zoom Med, you think Zoom Med wouldn't do that, it actually can ruin the unit completely and hinder the efficacy of the unit itself. So I always have had success putting it right on the side of the vivarium. So with me, I would actually put it on the back, right like this. So when I have it on, so you see it up against here, I put it all the way down. So the heat is going to push this way, since the unit's in the back. It's going to push through the substrate, which is going to help create a sauna, which is really important when it comes to your leopard geckos and other desert animals that get dehydrated. So it's not they get dehydrated quickly, but they are used to not having access to water constantly. So having small humidity areas in there really helps them essentially stay hydrated, have good sheds, helps with respiration, the whole 9 yards. Another way that you can heat, if you're using the under tank heater and it's not doing the job, it's only giving you a nice ambient of about 90 to 94. You could always go, with the nano fixtures, and I love these. These are great for, I've used them with all sizes of my tanks. They're super energy efficient, and I always use the ceramic heat emitters. You never want to use the red bulbs for reptiles. Reptiles can see that spectrum of that red, and it really messes with their sleep cycles, and it kills me that these big people sell it because they shouldn't, because it's terrible. So that's one thing you can do for the heating. I am going to be providing UVB. My LEDs do not emit any UVB yet, but I will be using the Zoom Med Naturalistic Terrarium hood with the Reptisun 10.0. I will be changing out this CFL bulb every 6 months. Of all the UVB sources, this is my least favorite. However, given the fact that he has access to the UVB from under 6 inches away, I am more than confident that he is going to get what he needs from this particular fixture. However, if he was going to be this far away all the time from the UVB, well then I would consider getting something a little bit better like the T5s that has a little bit more going downwards. As far as feeding goes, I did mention to you guys how I feed my leopard gecko, but I like to supplement the crickets and dubia and worms. I always dust them. I always use the pink label and blue label. Switch them out. Never do them at the same time because that can mess with absorption. What makes this so good is that it has something called beta carotene in it. And what beta carotene is, that is the carotenoid that one of the carotenoids that leopard geckos need to synthesize one of the most important vitamins, vitamin A, as far as your vitamin C, D, E, all the good ones. But vitamin A is the main driver of homeostasis for them. It maintains their vision, it maintains their balance, it maintains their ability to breathe, it maintains their salival ratios and able to catch food. So it's extremely important that you're dusting your feeder insects with this every feeding to every other feeding, depending on how often you feed. And I usually do the Herptivite, which is a great multivitamin with the beta carotene in it that you can use about once a week. And that is how I supplement. And as you guys can take a look here, I'm actually gonna close. I'm actually going to leave this open. Put some water in here, and then I'm going to go grab. I'm going to go grab the little one. Put him in here. I know, dude, it's wet. He's digging it. I think honestly, I have a feeling he's really gonna like the ghost wood up here, because this is where the basking's gonna be. So he'll be able to bask right in here, absorb his UVB right here, and then when he wants to get away, he can retreat back here. Once I monitor the temperatures, I will most likely put my heat mat back here, with the supplemental heat up top, just to give him a ton of options. But I'm really happy with it. I've had nothing but really, really good reviews from my clients that have tried this. They're noticing differences with their geckos. I notice differences with my geckos. You want it? He's like, no. I don't want that trash. I want a Goliath worm. Anyway, guys, thank you all very much for your continued support with my business. I can't wait to show you guys my entire showroom once it's done. Again, my name is Josh Halter. I am the owner and founder of The BioDude. You can visit my website, www.thebiodude.com. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Instagram. And, of course, subscribe to me on YouTube. The Dude abides.